So now what we want to do is we want to save. So we've gone through all the trouble of putting all this information in here. But what we need to do is we need to get that into the format of XML. So in order to do that, what we're going to do is we're going to add this thing called a scene definition. And in the scene definition, we have basically one class that feeds into one of each of the things that we load into the game. So if you look at this model, for example, it's got a name, an asset path, a normal path, a color path. It has a list of instances and a drawing order suggestion. All we do is we pass in those things into the class and it sets itself up. And we're doing this in the exact same order that we've defined it down here for our add normal diffuse model. So what this does is it gives us the ability to take the code that we have here and convert it rather straightforwardly into something that we can use for loading and saving. So we will define a new scene definition up here. Then in here, we will convert all of this information so that it's feeding into the scene definition. So all this stuff is pretty much in the same place, just feeding into the scene definition. Then we need to have a way to pull it back out of the scene definition. And we'll add that in right here. Then we can give this a try. Okay, it compiles fine. Now what we need to do is add in the method for saving. So then we add in the save method. We're just going to add it in right there. Then we need to have a way to save the file. So we are going to go into the update method and use our keyboard S to save it. Now you're going to notice that there's some things here that aren't included. To fix that, we are going to go in here and change this from a client to a full. And then add some extra XNA references, and we'll search by component name. And then we'll take all of the XNA ones. This is a little bit of overkill, but they'll get stripped away once we go back to the client references. And this is just so that we can get some of this content pipeline stuff. And this is a bit of a hack so that we don't have to sit down and actually write out the XML. Now we go back in here and add the using, and then we should be ready to go. So when I click the S button, you're going to see a little hang here. There's the hang. That means the file saved. Now we can dig down here. Let me refresh this here. PCX86, and there's our scene file. Let's take a quick look at it. Yep, it's XML. And we'll come back and talk about what that means in a minute. But we're going to cut that and paste that up in our content here. And then we include it. Then we go back up to our LoadContent method, and we can comment out all of this stuff. We comment it out just so that we have it around in case we make a mistake. And there is our scene information. Before we can actually use that, the content is actually going to need our reference to where that thing is declared, where the scene definition is declared. That's in our game components. So now that we've added that reference to the content project, we can build it and then just use the normal content loader. And there you go. Okay, now let's see what kind of things we can do now that we have this content loading. First thing we're going to do is go through and delete all of this because we don't need it anymore. And now we're ready to start tweaking our in-game content.